This is the plaintiff, Jerry Pittman Jr. He says he and the defendant have an on-again, off-again relationship for the past 20 years. And in 2014, she gave him a dog she couldn't care for anymore. 2 years later, she wanted the dog back, attacked him in a stairwell, then lied to the police, telling them he attacked her. He got arrested. She stole the dog from him, and he had to pay a lot of money to clear things up with the court and prove his innocence. He's suing for $1,500, the amount he's now owed. This is the defendant, Catherine Iway Rashidi. She says the plaintiff stole her beloved dog Prince and took off after they split up. And when she tried to get him back, he attacked her and flung her into a china cabinet, smashing everything. He then started choking her and threw her into a bathroom. The money the plaintiff is suing for is bail after his arrest. He deserved to be thrown into jail, and she owes him absolutely nothing. She's accused of filing a false police report. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for pain and suffering and stress and aggravation.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Pittman, how do you and Ms. Rashidi know each other?
We were in a relationship for a while. Or at least
how long?
About 4 or 5 years or longer.
Okay, well, in here you say on and off for 15 or 20 in your complaint.
Yeah.
Is it 4 or 5 or 15 or 20?
15 or 20. And
is 4 or 5 the most on?
Most on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what happens here?
Well, she had given me a dog, Prince.
When did she give you the dog?
2015, somewhere around there.
And why did she give you the dog?
Because she could no longer take care of it.
And why couldn't she take care of it?
Financially, and our health wouldn't allow it.
What was wrong with her health that wouldn't allow it?
She's been suffering with diabetes, mental illness, and different.
Diabetes and mental illness. All right, and what happens?
Oh, I had become attached to the dog, and I had been taking care of him anyway. And she decided after that she wanted to take the dog back.
When did she decide that?
I guess of...
What month and year did you decide that, ma'am?
Oh, I didn't decide that. I never gave him the dog.
Okay. He had the dog since 2015, right?
No.
Okay. How long a period of time did he have the dog?
He never had the dog.
Okay, that's not true, because in your answer to the complaint, you tell me how you had to get the dog back. He had the dog for some time.
He stole the dog.
Okay, how long did he have the dog stolen for? How long was that stolen time?
He stole the dog in 2018.
For how long?
For 6 months.
And then after 6 months, what happened?
I was able to get the dog back when he got
How were you able to get the dog back?
He got arrested.
Okay, and that's the subject of this lawsuit, because you want $1,500 back that you had to pay the bail bondsman to post the bail for what you say is a made-up case.
Exactly.
So now, let me hear from you first about what happened that night.
Well, I went by to cook dinner for her, and I got ready to leave, and she asked me could I leave the dog. And I refused to because I couldn't trust her, and she jumped in front of the door to block me from leaving. So I kind of pushed her to the side and ran out with the dog, and she chased me. And as I was going down the stairwell, I'm handicapped. I have a hip.
Are you running down the steps?
Yeah, with two bad hips.
Okay, you're running down the step with 2 bad hips. That evens things out. All right, so then you get down there, you've got the dog, and she's right behind you, and what happens?
And I turned to try to stop her because she got pretty close.
And just going, that made her fall back?
Exactly.
Okay, according to you, it's a little different, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you say happened?
Well, the date was December 9th. I was coming home from church late that day because that day I had taken a friend to church. He's totally blind, so I had to take him to what's called the BART system. I don't know if you know that.
Okay, so just to be clear,
Okay,
you're doing services for the blind and you
Right.
go to church. I got that,
Yes.
but now talk to me about the dinner.
So-
because the dinner was orchestrated, right? Like in
No,
other words,
I
what I
didn't-
read in the answer to the complaint was he wouldn't give me my dog back, so I figured I'd have to be a bit more creative about getting my dog back. So I started inviting the plaintiff over for dinner in the summer of 2018. We started talking and having dinner, and he would bring my dog with him when he came. One night at the end of August, I told him he wasn't leaving with my dog. Let's take it from there.
Oh, so you want to go back to August? Okay. I had invited him over for dinner, and I had been inviting him, I guess, since the beginning, but I didn't make a move to take the dog until like the end of August. And so I told him that time that he was not taking Prince. And I stood in front of the door, and I wouldn't move, so he shoved me. And he pushed me again, this time into the couch, and he took his arm and put it on my neck like this, like trying to choke me without using his hands. So that was uncomfortable. So then he stopped, and he picked up the dog, and he starts again, and he was gone.
All right, now let's talk about the December incident. Let me hear from you first. What happened in December? Did you see her between August and December?
Yeah, the same thing happened.
What were you doing? Like having dinner anyway? Like nothing? Like everybody acts like like August didn't happen?
Well, she kind of reconciled those differences. She still has feelings for me, and she wanted to see the dog.
Well, do you have feelings for her?
In a sense, yes, I care about her, but
okay, so,
her and the dog, both. You know.
Okay, so what happens in December?
The same thing. See,
you go over, you've got the dog, she doesn't want you to take the dog, and then what?
Well, she chases me, and I make it to my car, and I get away, and then next thing I know, the police come to my house 2 days
Who has
later.
the dog at that point?
I did.
Okay, the police come to your house, and what happens?
She came with the officers and said there was a citizen's arrest. She made them arrest.
Okay, if there's an officer arrest.
Yeah, well, I guess a citizen standby arrest. I don't know.
Okay, so she comes to the officer and what? How did she get the dog?
The police came and took it.
That night in December?
No, March 8th.
Hold on. So in December, she gets you arrested because she presses charges against you for violence.
Right.
You pay $1,500 to a bondsman to post, I guess, a $15,000 bond.
Exactly.
And that's your premium, and you lose it. You don't get any of that.
Right.
And what happened with that case?
He said at the present time, there's no charges being filed.
Okay, so according to you, no charges got
Right.
filed. Okay, ma'am, do you have any information otherwise? Did he end up getting charged with the December incident?
I spoke to an officer, Chang, who's in charge of the investigation. He told me that he completed his investigation and it went to the DA. The DA is going to...
What on earth could he have been doing for the last 4 months? Completing the investigation is asking you what happened and you telling him what happened. There's nothing else to investigate.
Yes, unless you live in Oakland. Oakland has a corrupt police department, and either they're discriminating against me because I have a mental disability or because they perceive me to be black, or both. So they just have dragged their heels.
How did you get the dog back? That same racist police?
Well, actually, I got lucky because I asked for a supervisor. So they called one, and his last name was Rodriguez. He was Latino. I was very happy to see him. And he was very kind. He looked at all the paperwork, and then he called the number for the dog's chip and verified that the dog was chipped to me, and told his officers to go get the dog and give him to me.
Okay, and this is when, and he's in custody in December.
He was in the car. He was in the
Was this in
car.
December that all this happened, or was this in
December
March?
11th.
You think all this happened in December.
Yeah.
You seem to think all this happened in March.
It happened March 8th, my mother's anniversary, the death of her anniversary, 1 year.
Does anyone have any paperwork to prove when it happened so I could see whose recollection is more accurate?
Actually, it happened twice, in December and then again in March.
But if you already have the dog, how does it happen again in March?
Because I left the state to get away from him, my sister, and Oakland Police Department. I now live in New Mexico.
Ma'am, how can you take your dog twice? What happened in that meantime? Did you give the
Because
dog back to him?
I gave the dog back to him, and I told him he needed to sign a document stating that he would return the dog when I got back from New Mexico
And
after
did
I
he?
found a place. Well, he had the dog, and he said he was going to come sign the document that morning before
So
I
no,
left.
you didn't have him come sign the document
No,
before
he
he got
said
the
he
dog.
had diarrhea, and he never showed up.
Oh, the diarrhea is irrelevant. You gave him the dog without getting his signature.
That was my bad.
So you've involved the police in retrieving the dog, and you gave the dog back to him.
I felt like I didn't have a choice because if I didn't get away from California...
Well, how afraid are you of him?
Well,
And how afraid are you of the Oakland police when you got them to get involved? They got the dog back for you, and you gave the dog back to him.
Yes.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Is it appealing or not to have a relationship for 20 years where you go back and forth and it never quite cements?
It's not healthy
Why?
because if it doesn't work for the first 3 years, she should just cut it off.
But, well, you say she should cut it off. It's always the guy's fault?
Both sides.
Ha!
Hi. There's always a comfort level of, being familiar with
See,
somebody.
that's the point. Okay, so now who's the tiebreaker here?
I think it's good that they keep coming back together. They just keep trying.
Wow, I thought it was going to go the other way. Interesting, going inside the courtroom.
So now in March, you want the dog back again, and what do the police tell you?
Right, I wanted the dog back because I was back. I had a place that I found in New Mexico.
Those
and
are
I
you
wanted to take the
problems.
dog
Those are
back.
not anyone else problems. All right.
Well,
so
the problem
I want the dog back because free care is no longer necessary for me. So then you go back there and the police take the dog a second time?
I asked for a supervising sergeant.
Oh, did you ask for the same Officer Rodriguez?
I asked, was he on? I said, actually,
Or did you just ask for any Hispanic?
No, I actually asked for a woman or a officer of color. And they said,
I don't know that you get to say that. I don't think you say, listen, I don't like the color of your skin. Give me a different person. I mean,
Yeah, well, that was my preference, so I asked.
I prefer tall 7-foot Swedes with blue eyes and, that's in uniform. That's what I'd like to see. I mean, Now, you are telling me, okay, and I want $5,000 for pain, suffering, stress, and aggravation.
I was going to say I'm not really even talking about March 8th. I'm really talking
Whatever
about
dates you're talking about.
December 9th, because that's when I experienced the most pain.
Do you have any pictures to show me your injuries?
I do have pictures.
Do they show your injuries?
They show, well, these pictures are from March 8th. The only thing I have from December 9th, first I went to Highland Hospital.
Okay, let me see your hospital records from December 9th.
I'm looking for those now. Let's see. I can't seem to find that record from Kaiser, but I ended up in a boot from Jerry.
Okay, you have been in a boot since the December attack, according to you. Show me proof of that. Give me medical records in December. Because you don't act like someone who has been assaulted when you then give him the dog and have him for dinner again after that. But show me your medical records from December then. That's what you can't find. While she's looking, let me just explain a few things to you, Mr. Pittman. You have a case of false arrest. You got to prove false arrest. If you can't prove false arrest, you do not win.
I understand.
Right. And you've come to court basically with your word against hers. I would need to see something to show that it got dropped, that someone found her to be lying. And sometimes things are dropped, for a reason other than the veracity of the person. So on your claim against her, 0. And now on her claim against you for pain, suffering, stress, and aggravation, I ask you for the last time because I'm not going to give you any more. I've given you the whole trial to find the evidence I'm talking about. Did you find any medical evidence? Yes or no?
I haven't found it yet, but can I
we're done. That's your yet is over. On your claim for pain and suffering, 0. On your claim against her for $1,500 for a refund of the bail due to false arrest, I find that you have been unable to prove to me that the arrest was false. It's still pending. It's your word against hers. And the burden is on you to be able to prove that. So I am ruling in her favor on that. Good luck to you, folks.
Thank you.
Well, the end of the case, neither one of you can prove your case.
No, we can't.
So you lose your case, she loses her case against you. Are you still in contact with her?
She calls occasionally, and I respond because of the dog.
Where is the dog right now?
I believe her son has it.
Her son has it?
Yeah.
But you got attached to the dog?
Yes, I did.
Will you still be seeing her and having contact with her, do you think?
Well,
That's it.
she's a friend of the family, and I'm probably will be talking to her.
I think so?
Yeah.
Even after this court case?
Even after this court case.
My goodness, okay. Well, good luck to you,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, Miss Rashidi. You're Speedy Gonzalez in your boot, Listen, I'm sorry you didn't win your case. You had so many papers with you just couldn't find what you needed.
Yeah, I guess I left that one at home, unfortunately.
No, a lot of them you needed. Okay. Where is the dog now? Your son have the dog?
Yes.
You see the dog a lot? What kind of dog is
He's my
it?
dog, so
what kind
yeah.
Of dog? What kind of
He's
dog?
a Pomeranian Papillon mix.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Sorry you couldn't win your lawsuit.
All right, thank you.
And that'll do it, Harvey.
Doug, real simply, false arrest requires complete malicious intent, and that isn't the case here, even though she dropped the claim.